Alright, so today we're back with part 2 for the Project Flash battery. So I already did a little update video on the Project SB battery. Didn't know what was going on with it. It was acting weird, but it seemed like it was acting consistent and the batteries were unbalanced. And it just cuts off at a certain voltage for whatever reason that I don't know if I can fix. So that battery's back in the bottom. But this battery right here has a problem that needs to be fixed. For the people who don't know.
This battery I bought off of Amazon, and the listing was proclaiming a 60 amps continuous and 180 amps peak. This battery I destroyed, so let me tell you how I destroyed this battery. So before I even built the Project Flash, I used to watch a lot of videos on the Onyx, and this one guy I used to watch, Mr. Central Driver. He was turning up the power of his Onyx, lowering it, and every time he would do that in his settings, it would be like 50% and 100%. So before I even did any of this, I'm thinking that the controller kind of detects what the battery can do, and do you want to push 100% of the battery, do you want to do 50%, kind of like how a PC communicates with the CPU and the RAM communicates with this and this and that. And little did I know that e-bikes don't communicate with each other like that. Therefore, I was pushing 100 amps continuous in the 60 amps continuous battery, and it was doing it, but it wasn't meant to do it, and it was doing too much, which caused it to cut off and all that good stuff. But that's how I kind of thought the bikes works, which explains if you go on my channel and we scroll all the way down to right about here, and you see this title right here where it says lowered my controller power to 80% on the Project Flash, because I thought I was changing the 100 from 100% to 80%, 60%, 50. No, I didn't realize I was doing 100 amps, 80 amps, 60. So I was pushing 100 amps, and then I was trying to figure out why my motor was overheating when really it was my battery cutting off. So another thing I did find out though after opening this battery, that these are some very cheap Chinese FST cells, but each cell is 7.5 amps. So this battery can actually do 75 amps max continuous.
With that being said though, this parallel is the very unbalanced parallel. The rest are sitting at 3.5, at least the last time I did it, they're sitting at 3.5. But this parallel is in the 2.4.
Alright, so I have a bit of a theory, and I feel like this theory is going to allow me to possibly be able to fix this battery in a much easier and cheaper way. That theory is, what if these whole 10 cells are not actually damaged? What if it's one cell that's damaged? As you see, the cell we're pointing at here, it looks a little dull, not very shiny. It almost looks like it's corroded. Look at the fish paper. But if we compare it to the rest of the rest of the cells look pretty clean, still shiny. They don't look touched. They don't look like they were sparked or anything. So I'm thinking, what if I take this apart, take the one cell out, try to charge the rest of the 9 cells, and see what happens. Will the 9 cells sit at their voltage? Will they be fine? And then is it this one cell that's dragging the rest of the cells down? But of course, in order to figure that out, we have to take this apart and take this one cell out. So let's do that.
Take this off and fully pull it off, a bunch of white dust started hitting the ground, so seems like there's a bit of corrosion under this. I don't know if you can see that dust flying over, but yeah, you can see that.
So it seems to be this cell was so badly corroded, there was even corrosion inside the plastic in the tip of the cell. So I had to hold the plastic down with some needle-nose pliers so I could try to wiggle it out. I even put a heat gun on it to see if that might help. It probably didn't, but I did it anyways.
You can see the corrosion around it. See? There we go. So this cell was corroding. So if I take my clamp meter and we look at this one's volts, we're sitting at 2.493. Do it again. It's Bam, y'all should be able to see that. 2.529.
So we finally started charging everything. We set up outside just in case anything catastrophic happened. It won't be a fire in my bedroom. Everything outside a nice space, but nothing catastrophic happened. A few hours later, it hit nighttime. I set up everything else upstairs so I don't have to go in and out the house. And we hit a charge of 3.504. Now when I unplugged the charger, we set it about 3.500. Mind you, I unplugged at 8:56 p.m. and I woke up about 8 something in the morning. So about 10 hours later, we went from 3.500 to about 3.496 volts. So not too bad, but because it kind of dropped like that, I wanted it to sit at about 3.500, so I plugged it up again. We hit about 508, so 3.508, and then we eventually dropped to about 3.505, which was not bad. So after doing the charges, and it seems like there was no major plummeting in the rest of the 9 cells, now it's time to charge the 1 cell and see how that reacts, which I'm expecting it to plummet. And let's just look at the footage.
A few moments later.
I just plugged this cell up. Look how it's dropping. So that's the difference. Look how badly it's dropping. It was just at... Let's plug it back up. So we're at 3.2. And look, it's dropping already. It's already dropping. That is exactly what was causing the whole battery pack to pop up dead within a day or less.
So now that it's become very obvious to what the problem was with this battery pack. As we see, this little timestamp is this 1 cell going from 3.2 to 3.1 volts within 4 minutes, and it didn't stop there. But it is also obvious that my theory was very correct. Yes, I am a noob to this stuff, but I got those brains. So now the next theory is, these being FST cheap wholesale cells, like I said at the beginning of the video, I can only find them on Alibaba or AliExpress. Actually, I don't even think I can find them on AliExpress. I think just Alibaba. But I don't feel like dealing with neither of them. I don't feel like dealing with that. I already still have $1,000 that I haven't gotten back from the scam battery on my Project SB, my Bobber project. So after doing some research, because I really did not want to buy directly from China again, trying to find websites where I can buy cells in America where they're tested and all that other good stuff, I came across lianwholesale.com, and it was a very good website that people love and get a lot of their stuff from. So after going on that website, I came up with a theory. Can I throw in mismatched cells into this battery pack? The reason I came up with that theory is because I came across a cell that wasn't too expensive but also wasn't too cheap. It was a C-no-watt cell, same size, 18650, 4.2 volts peak, 3.6 volts nominal, and 2.5 volts cutoff. Even had the same milliamp hours at 2500. So I'm thinking, if everything else is the same, it should be able to work, right? The only difference was it can handle 20 amps continuous, where these cells can only handle 7.5 continuous. But once again, I'm thinking that shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, I'm not going to try to do what this 1 cell can handle and the rest of these cells can't. That wouldn't make sense. So I tried to do research, but I couldn't quite find what I was looking for. So I'm like, you know what? So the only thing I can think of at this point is asking a good helper that's been in my comments for the last few weeks, Mr. Gardner. So I asked him the question, and then I waited. Will I get the good news, or will I get the bad news? And I ended up getting the good news. He said everything still works, simply because the voltages are the same, it's the same type of cell, and it runs at the same amp hours. Of course, just don't push the cells any higher, simply because this 1 cell can go higher than the rest. So, after I got that info right there, I said fuck it, and I bought the battery. But the voltage was a little too high, so I had to figure out a way to lower the voltage, since I don't really have anything that'll draw power from this cell. Well, besides this little free fan that the battery came with. Put it in the fan, lowered it all the way until we hit about 3.500. We ended up getting a low of 3.499. I said forget it, that should be good enough. So now it's time to get this battery installed with the rest of these battery cells, and let's just see what happens. So now that everything is hooked up and nothing crazy happened, for some reason the discharge cable we were seeing a voltage of 59 volts, but through the actual BMS cables we saw 69.9. So now I want to throw this in the yard and charge it, but I'd rather not throw it out there with the battery like this. I'd rather have it covered up. So let's wrap this thing back up.
There we go. Not the prettiest job in the world, but I think it's good enough. And more than likely, if the battery works, which I don't think I did anything wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Okay, so I was gonna record this at first, but I'm thinking just in case, I don't know, one of my spot welds weren't that great and this decides to blow up when I charge it. Let's record it just in case anything catastrophic happens. I don't think it would. I think something catastrophic would have been happening if something was wrong, but who knows. And now, nice and far away, because this cable gets nice and long. You ready for this? And wish you'd be charging.
It's the first thing in the morning after taking a shower. It's now 10 a.m. Plug this thing up at 7 p.m. It's been about 13 hours. And it looks like we're fully charged. But the charger may say we're fully charged. But are we fully charged? Originally when this battery was messed up, it would say fully charged, but it will only get to about 82, maybe 83 volts. Now, it looks like we're getting about 84.1 volts. So after checking the voltage, I said, you know what, let's wait 30 more minutes. I was going to give it an hour, but we waited 30 more minutes, and we checked back at the voltage. After 30 minutes, we went from 84.1 to 84 volts. So not much, if anything, was lost. Therefore, this battery seems pretty charged to me. So now, I think it's about time Project Flash gets its battery back.
Ready for war, Joe, how you wanna blow they spot? I know these dirty cops that'll get us in if we murder some mob. Hop in your Hummer, the punish is ready. Leave me your Beatles with noodles, we do the do while we slurping spaghetti. Everybody kiss the fucking floor, so we crack, fuck them all. If they move, noodles, shoot that fucking whore. Dead in the middle of little, did we know that we riddle to middleman who didn't do diddly. It'll be a cold day and holiday I'm taking out. Make no mistake, for real, I wouldn't hesitate to kill. I'm still a fat one that you love to hate. Got you at your mother's waist, smack you, then I rock you with my stuff tree. I'll rub your face off the earth and curse your family's children like Amityville. Drill the nerve in your cavity, filling insanity's building a pavilion in my civilian. It canopy, the anarchy guy humanity's feeling. I'm feeling without remorse, it's willing to out your boss forever and take all the cheddar like child support. I support running anything he does, anything he loves. A brother from another mother sent for the above. A thug nigga just like me, one of the best might be. Even better, leaving niggas kneeling on their right knee. Spike Lee couldn't paint a better picture. You small change, you're blowing out your brains, getting richer. Richer with the Mac. Smack a bitch, nigga, what?
Now we should have power. Work. Now, on the main test. And we're on. Yep, I was right. The voltmeter on this screen is off. It says 85.3 now.
So this took me about 20 to 30 minutes to get done. So overall, it has been an hour since we've charged this battery and let it sit. So we're going to check the voltage again. We're sitting at about 83.9. So mind you, we still are at peak voltage, which usually these batteries really don't stay at peak voltage. So if I remember correctly, that seems pretty normal. Nothing major lost.
Look at that. We're still at 85.2 on this display. That's gear 1. Let's turn it all the way up to gear 5. Sheesh. It is nice to hear this thing again. I forgot I don't have a rear brake, so. Goddamn fly. I need to get a rear brake for this thing.
So I know throughout the majority of my theories, that my anxiety was talking, so that's why I was worrying about a lot of small things. But it's goddamn obvious that this battery works. And there is a possibility that I have revived Project Flash after it disappearing for about a year. So now the only final test to do is a range test. Will the battery keep up? Can we do miles? But honestly, I think I'm gonna save that for a different video. I think this video's been long enough. With that being said, it has been If y'all enjoyed this, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for that range test. And I'm out. Peace.